I got two brilliant moves with bishops in these two games, which I'm going to be covering. Starting with this game on stream versus Psycho. Just ignore Zelo or pretend there's a 0 on the end and let's get to it. So boom, King's Pawn opening. That is going to be my go-to. Solid opening, why not? So he's going to match with his King's Pawn. And then we bring out the Knight. Everything by the books. He's going to bring out his Knight to match. I'm going to push my pawn and he does not take, which I love this move. Because dude, when you get your pawn on d5, they're just cooked. Like, you cannot, like, develop anything. It is just so bad for black. He definitely should have taken, should have taken, but he did not. So we push the pawn. He has to retreat his knight. It's telling him to go back to his home square at that point. I mean, you're just cooked. So excellent move by him. Now I take out my knight. I'm supposed to push my pawn, but I don't know. I want to get my pieces out. Why not? So now he pushes up his pawn on the c file. He's like, yo, we got to get this pawn up out of there. That is terrible for our position. But I don't care to take. I guess I'm supposed to take, but I just want to keep my pawn there. I feel like he's protected by two pieces. Why not? So I got my bishop up out of there, which is a good move. And now he pushes his pawn on the H file instead of developing his knight. Very, very questionable move. Should have developed the knight. Get some more pressure up on this pawn. So I bring out my queen. I guess it's a good move. I'm apparently supposed to put my knight there, but I'm thinking, okay, we got bishop beamed, the queen beamed. You know, maybe we could get something powerful going later in the game with that. And also, it is going to allow me to castle in the next move. So he decides to push his pawn in front of his rook up one. Very questionable. Playing like a Zelo, I guess that's pretty accurate. So bam, we decide to castle, which is an inaccuracy for me. I can force an isolated pawn because if I take, well, he takes back, and now this pawn's all by itself. But either way, I wanted to protect my king. So now he sends in the knight. He takes a pawn with a knight, so that's free. I'll just pick that up with my pawn. Questionable play by my opponent. Now he king walks. He decides to king walk. He could have just pushed up this pawn. He has no development, by the way. I don't know what bro is doing. The one piece he developed got taken by a pawn. That's sad. So anyway, he decides to push his king onto the 7th rank. Why not? And then I attack it with my bishop, because why not? I got my pieces out. Let's go for this. So he blocks with his pawn. I decide to move back. I could have won material by going here. Wanted to get my bishop to safety. Very conservative move. So my opponent now moves over his rook, which is a good move, but still just everything on the back rank. He got none of his pieces out in a very disadvantageous position. I'm up, what, 5.03? I didn't even know it went above 5. That's crazy. So we finally take with the pawn. This has been a good move for a while, so we'll pick that up. It isolates his pawn, and then we have a brilliant move coming up. Do you see it? I'm trying to see where. Right there, boom, yeah, boom. Oh, yo, bro, bishop sacrifice. So I'll put my bishop over to c5 because if he takes, I think I'd basically checkmate him. I mean, he can go over there, but I win a queen. Like, he is so cooked. You know what I'm saying? And then what, if he doesn't take, what, I can send him my queen? You know, he's in a lot of trouble in this position. He is in a lot of trouble. So he backs up his king. I take with the bishop. He takes back. I take back with the queen. He takes my queen. Then I take with the rook. And we are now +3 in material and have a way better position. So he's supposed to bring his knight in front of the king. Does not do it. Just brings it out to h6. Not the most pro move. So we eat up the pawn because why not? I mean, my rook's just in his territory. He cannot do much to stop it. So moves over his rook onto the f file, which will allow us to take his pawn because my bishop is protected by the rook. So he'll pick up my bishop. I'll take that, and we are now +5 in material and have a way better position. So next, my opponent pushes his pawn over to g6 for some reason instead of developing his knight a little more. So now I push my pawn. You know, I'm not the best at, you know, late middle slash end games. Just wanted to push it up. I believed his knight would try and go here. Just not going to let that happen. So a good move, but not the best. Now he moves over his rook. Maybe he's trying to get, you know, some type of attack on my king, but I just do not think he has enough material to pull anything off. So I move over my knight. An excellent move by me. And then he pushes his pawn. So got to get my knight out of the way. I decide to threaten his rook. He pushes up his rook to get up out of the way of my attack. And then I move my rook over. I'm trying to do a rook trade. I'm up material. And I realize that'll help me to win. So he decides to block with his rook. I take. He takes back. And I'm able to pick up a pawn. So he just blocks with his rook. I say, why not? Let me just pick that up. I'll take that trade all day. I can pick up a pawn, put you in check, and then bam. I mean, we got 2 knights to 1. We got pawns. About to march down, so let's get to it. He attacks my knight. I take it back to safety. Very well protected. He decides to attack, so we'll just pick it up with our pawn. He takes back with the knight, which might be his first best move all game. I'm not sure why. So we push this pawn, and it's like, how are you going to stop it? How you gonna stop the pawn on the A file, buddy? What does he do? He's supposed to move his king over. Instead, just picks up our pawn. So we just keep pushing. Can't stop it. What are you gonna do? He pushes his pawn and then says, you know what? I give up. I give up. There's literally no stopping this pawn from becoming a queen. It is GG's and brilliant move number 1. Now, if you thought that game versus a 300 opponent was high IQ and competitive, get ready for this one versus an 886. So king's pawn opening once again, going by the books. Now he matches with the queen's pawn, which I will just pick up because I want to draw his queen out. And then bam, I move out my knight. You are under attack. And he just has to back up. So I feel like I have quite a bit of an advantage. My knight's out. You know, we just traded pawns and I got a little better development, I believe. So bam, able to push out my pawn as well. Now he brings out his knight. So everything by the books. I bring out my knight. He brings out his bishop. I assume he wants some kind of fried liver attack. I don't really know. So I take out my bishop. I'm like, you know what? I can take this knight. We can possibly get double the pawns here. But instead, he just pushes up this pawn, which is the best move. Protects the bishop and lets the queen protect his knight. So I bring out my bishop, offering a trade, which is the best move on the board, which he decides to trade. So we got to trade back. Now, next up, my opponent. Questionable move, inaccuracy. Should have developed the bishop, but instead wants to push my bishop, which I don't blame him. Now I go back. Apparently I'm supposed to take the knight, but I don't want to take the knight because that just lets him develop the queen. I don't really like that, so I just wanted to bring my bishop to safety, which is a mistake. I could have forced a doubling a pawn, apparently? Why would he not just take with the queen? Maybe I just don't see far enough ahead. I'm sorry, chess engine. So now he brings out his bishop attacking my knight, trying to do the same thing, but we do not care. And it allows me to win a pawn through a fork. Do I see that move? No. Of course I don't. I don't see that move to attack the king and win a pawn. I decided to castle because I wanted to get my king to safety. I saw him in the line of the bishop. I'm like, you know what? I'm not putting up with this. You know, we're going to go to safety. So he just takes my knight. And I take back with the queen. So still a plus 0.6 advantage for me, but we have missed some moves. So next up, my opponent castles, which is an excellent move for him. Gets his king to safety, but we are still up on the meter. Now I'm moving my queen a little too late. I see that pawn is chilling there. It's like, all right, I want to attack it, but his king is not in check, so he can easily defend it. But pushing up his pawn. Now the best move there is to get his queen out. That's an interesting one, which I did not notice, but either way works. So we bring our queen back to safety, which is a good move, but I'm supposed to move my rook over. Now he just sends in his knight for some reason. I don't know. I guess he wanted to get my queen in trouble, but it is an inaccuracy and not the best because we can just move our queen over one. Now we got our queen on the E file. We got our rook on the D file. I'm liking this position right here. So what will he do next? He just brings out his other knight, which is a good move. Apparently, he's supposed to retreat, but at that point, his development will just be so trash. Now, here comes our brilliant move. Super brilliant move with the bishop. Once again, do y'all see it on the board? Are y'all ready for this one? Boom! Bishop to H6. Brilliant move. I found the right idea by sacrificing my bishop because I ruined his king structure. If he takes back, I just win a free knight, and I'm threatening an unprotected knight. I mean, then his king is just out in the open. So what does my opponent do to counter our brilliant move? He picks it up, which isolates the pawn. It's a weakness. He is supposed to protect the knight with his queen, which means I would just win a pawn. I could probably bring the bishop back. So he decides to do that. I will pick up the knight, which is a great move. Put my queen on E4. Why not? Got a great position here, and then bam, he takes out his queen. For some reason, I don't know what he's doing. He has got to protect that knight. The knight is just chilling there on C6. Very, very undefended. So we'll just pick that up. Easy move for our queen. Next, he gets his rook up out of the way and decides to protect this pawn. Apparently, he's supposed to go there, which I don't know if that does that win this pawn or something. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a little better than this, but either way, I move in my queen, which is a good move, but it's just going to be tough to pick up pawns because he's just able to push that one, and now he has a nice structure with these pawns. Cannot really take any of them, to be frank. So next, I push this pawn. Why not? We got a rook behind it. We have a queen protecting it. A good move, but he's just able to take it with his pawn. I take back with the rook and even trade. So he brings out his rook. I guess he wants some kind of middle attack, I'd have to assume. Wants to get something at my king. Let's see if he can figure that out. Nope, I go to the 7th rank. I just know it's very, very overpowered. When you got a rook and a queen on the 7th rank, good stuff tend to happen. So to counter, my opponent pushes up his queen, which is a good move, trying to protect the undefended pawn over here, which I am beaming with both my pieces. And it also puts me in check, so we have got to move up out of the way. Next, the queen moves on the g file, threatening this pawn down here. What do I do to counter? I just pick up this pawn because I know he probably would want to take, which he does take instead of the best move, which will be to take this pawn, because then my rook is just under attack. I don't know if there's too good of a counter for that. So we just pick up the rook. And now we are +5 in material, way up on the meter, but we just got to find a way to win this game and not sell. So he picks up the pawn on g2. If I move, apparently he's supposed to push the pawn over on the a file, but he does not see that move. Next up, boom, I bring over my rook. Questionable move because it just gives up a knight, which my opponent picks up. Was a bad move. You know, I was thinking, okay, I'll get this guy to the 7th rank, but I just failed. Very, very bad move. So my opponent doing a little bit better. What can I do to counter? I move over the king. Oh, just gave up a pawn. Just gave up a pawn, but then my opponent, inexplicably, he sacrifices the queen. Oh, what is he doing? Is that a misclick maybe? Was he trying to go there? Did he think, oh, I'm gonna put him in check? That's a comp move. But what you didn't see is bam! Oh, I took it with the queen, and that is a W. I remember initially being in this position like, dude, I just sacked my queen. I didn't think it was possible for someone to make that bad of a move. I thought it was his turn. That's how bad the move was. I thought, oh shoot, it's his turn and my queen is cooked. I really thought I just lost the game, but GG's. That is my brilliant bishops. Like and sub and stay joyful.